So Ioniconf, this is my talk, Warp Your Reality with WebVR. I hope you like my VR chick that I found. She is super cool. I just had to have her to my slides. So let's get started. So my name is Yvonne Allen. I am currently a Java developer advocate at Vonage. You can find me on Twitter at yallen011, or you can find me on LinkedIn at Yvonne Allen. Nothing special, just plain first name, last name. Before we get into that, I just want to tell you a little bit more about myself besides my job title, because yes, I do say that I am a Java developer advocate. I am also a full stack. That's just my current position, but I'm also a full stack developer as well. And most of my concentration is in Angular. So that's why today you'll be seeing me using WebVR using Angular, which is kind of like, super fun for me to just kind of see what all I can do with Angular and just showcase like the community and all the fun we can have with just building things on the web, and so on and so forth. So that's me. I kind of live in Atlanta. I've been living here in Atlanta for pretty much all my life. I have traveled, but I mostly just live here in Atlanta. So I got my start as a Java developer, which is where I kind of rolled back to, but that's kind of my original background. The first language I've ever written in was in Java, and then I found my love for front end and Angular as I moved on, worked for companies like State Farm and Rango recently. So that's a little bit about me. So now, a lot of people know concepts of VR, but kind of don't know like how that applies to the web. So WebVR is basically how you can have 3D content that reside in your web page. So you can use that on things like on your phone or just on the web itself in order to see content in more of a 3D manner instead of just 2D. And with WebVR, you can make use of the VR headset like Google Daydream or Google Cardboard or Oculus Rift, and you can use your phone. So any phone that is capable of handling VR can be used in a WebVR manner in order to see a virtual reality experience, have a 3D experience, but via the web instead of on an app. Unless you're using Ionic, and then you can have that to your phone, so natively. So how do we use WebVR? You can use WebVR as and embed it into your application. So you can embed it as a small piece of your web app. Or you can use it as a pop-out, which will something that you click on, like an image that you can click on, and then you will see the WebVR icon at the bottom, usually at the bottom right corner. And then you can click on it, and then it acts as a pop-out, and you can have your 3D experience that way. Or you can have it be your entire web page, so your entire web app. So your app is in essence a entire 3D experience. So what type of experiences can you create with WebVR, do you ask? Well, that would be things like education. You can use it for educational tools, as create an immersive environment for a child or for anyone learning something. I've seen multiple applications where that's coming out now, where you can have it's more augmented, or you can have more immersive, where there's someone telling a story, or there's words on the screen, and then if you can look left or you can look right and up and down and see the entire environment instead of having a 1D photo on a book, you can have an immersion where you can look all around you. And if you put the goggles on, it's even more immersive. And unless you can, if you're just on the web, you can just click around and drag the mouse around in order to see more of the scene. Or you can use your goggles in your phone in order to see the entire experience in a 3D manner and also read the book at the same time. There's also, of course, which is more well-known, virtual reality games. One is the one that I know is called like Saber. I'm getting the word wrong. Please don't hurt me. But yeah, it's where the game where with the stick, it looks like a what is it? I'm going to get ruined. Someone's going to destroy me on Twitter for not knowing how to say Star Wars. So yeah, so you have Star Wars, and you have your lightsaber, and you swing that thing. So it's kind of like that game. Yeah, so there's other things like simulators that you can do, driving simulators as well, entertainment. So there's also a website called wif.in where you can go and look up things like CNN also has right now their WebVR where you can see news in like virtual reality on a virtual reality platform on their website through within just kind of gives you all the resources you can find where you can watch things in VR on the web now using your phone and a headset, or if you don't have a headset, you can just kind of use your mouse and click around and see the scene. But I tried it with the phone and the headset, and it was super cool. I didn't even know until just doing more research about like all the offerings that people, even big companies like CNN, are offering in order to give you a more immersive experience into their content. So let's try this out. So the best way in order to kind of see what WebVR has to offer is to kind of just get in there, start playing around, and have some fun. But in order to do that, I wanted to be able to get you up and running really quickly. And so we're going to be using some tools, some libraries in order to help us get up and running fairly quickly in our 30-minute time span. So one of the things we're going to do is, of course, we're going to be using Angular. And in order to install Angular, you npm install -G in order to make it global, Angular CLI to install the Angular CLI. And then from there, you would create our sample project, which we're going to be calling Angular WebVR Demo by doing the command ng-new Angular WebVR Demo. This is on the assumption that you already have npm installed and Node installed on your machine. So what tools are we going to be using in order to create our WebVR experience today? We are going to be using a web framework called A-Frame, and we're going to be using Google Poly in order to not have to create, because I'm not a graphic designer and I do not know how to create 3D images experiences, but there is something out there called Google Poly, which we will get into momentarily in order to kind of help you just kind of start playing around with WebVR without a lot of experience or having to create any objects and things on your own. So what is A-Frame? So A-Frame is a web framework, and it allows you to build rich 3D experiences through the web. And it uses something called a entity component system. And so with an entity component system, which I'm going to show you a little bit more how that works in a second when we get to our demo. It uses an entity as a component, and within that component, acts like a placeholder for being able to add functionality like lighting, different behaviors, like doing like the images may just spin on a slow rotation. They may go in and out very slowly or fast. They may go horizontal. Just, small little movements that you can do to animate the images and the objects called entities within a scene. And we're going to cover what the scene is again, like I mentioned later in the demo, and different functionality. So it can, at one point it can, slide across the string and disappear and never come back, or it can consistently rotate throughout the screen. So different things and behaviors. And you can also add click functions, which we won't be getting into this talk particularly because it's out of our scope. This was more of an introductory, and that one's a little bit more adding on from your introductory, but there are things you can do with it, as you've seen before, where you can, touch, have simulations to touch, so you can add functionalities like that. So what is Google Poly? The next thing we're going to be using. So Google Poly is basically an online library where people can browse, share, and remix 3D assets. So as I mentioned before, and as you can see in this small image of the website, you can go and click through the images that are already there. On the website, they are already using WebVR, so you can click through and go into VR mode and view the image in 3D. You can play around with it. You can zoom in and out. But again, you can use these assets in order to put them in your own application and build whole environments, which is super de-duper cool. And I was like, I can just get started and start going without having to worry about like, how do I create an object and learn like how to create these 3-dimensional objects in order to even create a scene. So this is what it allows you to do. And for me, I found it very enjoyable to kind of see what's already out there and just kind of have these cool experiences. I kind of started playing with it for literally hours at one point when I first started learning, because like every image was so cool. It's like I could not, figure out, like, even when I wanted to add it to my application, because like there was a lot going on and I'm like super like kiddish with the colors. Like I get really excited, and I don't know if you're like me where it's like, oh, colors, it's really bright colors. It's just like your eyes just like you see candy. I don't know if you like candy, but I like candy. So what else? So all the assets, as we were explaining, are created with someone who already has like an application that create 3D models and scenes. And you can use, there's different ones you can follow, like tilt brushes, blocks, or any program. You can do this with any program that allows you to use Poly. So our program is a library that we're going to be adding, a web component that uses Poly. So we're going to be able to easily add them without even having to download them ourselves. The application, the library that we're going to be using is going to be doing it for us using the Poly API. And the Poly API allows you to search, download, and upload assets for, the upload part is for more VIP users, I guess, as the website says. But yeah, so mostly you can search and download them straight into your applications and use them just by searching for the name. And I'll show you more about like how to do that, how easy that is with using the proper API in the library later on. So how do we add Google Poly and A-Frame? So do npm install A-Frame in A-Frame Google -Poly -component, and that will get both A-Frame and Google Poly, the Google Poly web component library into your application so that we can get up and running pretty fast. And let's go back. So right now, let's get into our demo. So with our demo, I'm going to show you like how we create the scenes, a few tools you can use with A-Frame in order to, with WebVR in order to kind of allow you to get immersed in your experiences and the tools. So let's get out of that and go to our application. If I was smart, I would have made these windows already, so you wouldn't have seen all of my things that have popped up. But hey, so so once you upload, once you create your Angular application, you can start using the A-Frame immediately. So in order to do that, though, oh no. Yikes. Sorry, guys. My screen is coming back up. The plug came out. This is fun. I'm having so much fun with all the technical errors. This is what real like development looks like. Seriously. I am back up.
I'm here with you.
So this is what a real conference looks like. There's a lot of things happening behind the scenes where if people mess up, you just have yourself at home to blame. All right, I have my screen back up. Sorry about that. All right, so yeah, that's a little fun that we just had there. But okay, so back to our application. Let's give this a rundown and kind of, it's very small. So, but even with this small set of these small lines of code, you can already see how once we start the application and you load it, you will see like even a small line of code can create a big experience for your application and just for you to play around with. So first thing we have here is what we call a scene. And this is like You'll see what that is later. But this, our main code is literally right here. This is our whole main purpose of our code right now, is to see this. This is a banner. So I'm just gonna move that way down there. So you don't need to pay that any attention. So what we have here right now is basically will, in this case, can be either a small portion of your VR experience, or it can be the entire thing. And what we have it right now is the entire thing. And what I'm currently using right now is, you can have an environment. So really cool thing, you can create environments where they kind of a preset. So usually when you create it, you probably have like a black background with nothing really there. So you can spunk it up using WebVR backgrounds and use a set of presets that comes with A-frame already. And I choose forest, and I'll show you what that does later. So like, just to kind of show you how it works, it's just forest. So you can use, let me see if I can pull it up really quickly. To kind of give you like the fun backgrounds that you can have. Let's do the background docs for A-frame. So as you can see here, it's really easy to, what we did was we can create a color, or you can use a preset. And let's see. Thought I already had this up. Sorry, guys. But it's all good. Oh, can't find it really fast. I don't want it to take too much time. But yes, so you can use your backgrounds, like as you can see, a sky, in order to like create different presets. And you're going to see what that looks like in our application in just a second. Let's go back to our application. And then, so then now, more importantly, is what we talked about earlier, is an entity. So an entity will be what we hold our object in. So within this, we can do things like add lighting. We can change the lighting of the object that we're getting from Google Poly. Maybe you want to make it brighter, maybe you want to make it darker. You can do things like change the position, and you can change whether it's rotated, how it's tilted, which is, you can use the rotate property here to show like, okay, do we want to tilt it too far up, too far down? Do you want it straight? Some images come already with a particular tilt, so you may want to reformat like how it's being positioned. And then the scale. So really importantly, scale can determine whether or not your image is super big when you first load onto the page, or it can be super small when you load onto the page. And sometimes it can also be like whether it's the depth as well. So one of these is depth, and the depth will determine like, okay, is it close into your face or is it further out? And you'll be able to kind of like position the initial position of your image using entities when you open your application. And then the next entity, which is really important that we added here besides the object, and is the camera. So the camera part is really important because it will determine whether you're inside of the image. As you'll see in our application, I set mine inside the image because then you kind of feel like you are in the game, or in the image and in the scene, or in 3D experience when you first load into the application. Or you can set it further back and have it where you move the mouse forward in order to get to the image and move around and stuff. Or if you have more of a scene going on and you have multiple objects, you may want to, set the camera farther back so you can see the entire scene at once before you start using your mouse in order to go closer to the objects. And so that's what we did here. And so let's get into this. Like I've explained a little bit. And so here, one more very important thing we did is use Google Poly here. This is how you use Google Poly, and you use the API key that you get when you have to sign up to Google Poly, and then you can use the source. So that's where you get the image from. And if I can go back, I can show you this really quickly, how to do this. Go to Google Poly here, and let's say we wanted this image. So this one looks really nice. Waiting for it to load. So this is how the experience will look, and you can move around on the website, which is really cool. You can zoom into the image as well and go below it, but you know, it's kind of, you can just see the bottom half of it, which is fun. And then here, so this is where you get that unique identifier from. You just take this, you copy it, and you paste it, and then you can put it right into your application, right here. And that's how it works. So let's play. I already have it started, so let's go to the web. And I have super thousands of it's loading. Oh no. May take a moment. But while we're waiting on that to happen, let me show you one other thing that you have to do through Google Poly in order to get your experience started. You can go to Google Poly. You can go to Get Started. You can say Web. And this is where you go to get an API key. I've already done it, so I can't do it again. But this is where you would go to get your your API key. And you insert your project. Let's say my project, click next. And essentially you'll get your web API key. For the lack of time, I don't want to wait for it to happen. But then you just add it into your application like we did here. And this will create your Google Poly API key so that when you do use this, it'll load up. And let's see if our application has started now. Oh no, it's still loading. That's a bummer. It's just working. Let's try it again. That's sorry about that. Okay, let's give it one more shot. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. For some reason, it's taking too long to load. I did experience that once. The last time a while back, it can take a moment to load the image, especially if you have a really, really big image, which is like the one that I was using. So unfortunately, I don't have enough time to show you the experience firsthand. I'm super sorry, but I can show you one more on Google Poly, another experience, and we can do it that way. And If you want to check out the project yourself, it will be up on GitHub in order for you to play around with it and see the experience firsthand. I'm super sorry it's not working right now, but yeah, so again, it would look like this, and you will be able to just kind of play around with it, move it around. This one's set, as you can see. Let's say here our camera is set kind of further out. You can have your camera to be set a lot closer into it, which is super, super fun and cool. If you could get it to work on your application. And so like you can also, again, like I started playing around with this and started to get really, really, really just involved and in depth and just checking out the scenes and playing around with it. So if you want to, you can do the same thing that I did in like into full screen mode and just kind of be super immersed in the experience and in the environments that you have already to play around with before you even add anything to your application on Google Poly, and do it that way. And super sorry that my application is taking too long and won't load, but I would like to just say thank you, and thank you for working with me through all the gotchas and the hiccups that we had today. You never know, right? It just, when you're dealing with doing tech and dealing with different technologies, you're doing it on yourself at your house, it can get a little fun and crazy. But you have resources here that you can go to and check out. You can check out A-Frame, you can check out Google Poly here, you can check out the documentation, and you can check out a few articles that I listed here in order for you to kind of get deeper into the experience more than what we did here today, and just go maybe add multiple objects and multiple scenes and entities, even more than the one that I was going to show you and create, which is basically going to be like the one you saw in Google Poly, and see how that works. And you know, and one more thing, we are hiring here at Vantage for another Node developer currently. And if you would like to go to our Vantage Developer Advocate portal and play around with our APIs, such as SMS messages, video, and voice, and add them to your application, you can go and do so. You can DM me on Twitter for a coupon code that you can get free credits in order to use our APIs and do things like maybe create your own version of Zoom that you don't have to pay for after 40 minutes. So fun things like that. And thank you. Again, you can find me on Twitter, and you can also find me on LinkedIn at Allen011 or Yvonne Allen. Thank you very much.
So let's go ahead and dive first into the question that I think we all want to know. Yvonne, you have told us that you have the demo working.
I do.
All right. So why don't you share your screen real quick, and let's give Yvonne, you know, all the positive vibes that we can get. We have your screen up here on the stream. Let's see the demo.
All right. So I just wanted to have a little bit of redemption because I do not like to go out on a lose. I like to go out on a win. So here is the virtual reality scene that I was going to show you guys earlier before the demo guys decided to smite me down. But I got back up. So here is the scene. So I used a forest theme with the forest. I also got the website for you, so I will show you that in a quick second. And I set, as I was saying, the camera inside the image, or so that when you get in, it's like you walked into this old what you call it, like when you're Knight's Tale type of thing going on. So you can go around, you can visit, you can zoom back out. But I just wanted to show you what this looked like and how you can immerse yourself in the experience. And lastly, I just wanted to show you where you can get your preset backgrounds. You would go to Super Medium, A-Frame environment component, and you can choose your backgrounds just like that. So you can just get really set up really fast. And I used the forest one, which is this one. So you can kind of see this is where the image would be. So, and then you can see here the VR experience. And lastly, super cool, I wanted to just show you the VR inspector. So the VR inspector will allow you to inspect your component and kind of change it and change the vectors and where the image is lying. And you can change, like, you can move the image around and move the background around and change your plane. And you can do that without having to like keep going back to your code and trying to like change the numbers around. You can play with it right in the inspector on your browser. So I just wanted to show you that, guys and ladies and gentlemen, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you kind of had a little fun there. But you know, the VR, the demo that I cannot put
Awesome. Thank you so much, Yvonne.